Thank you very much for having me. Don't thank me yet.
You have the right to remain silent.
Is it finished?
Yeah, I just saw you expired.
It wasn't on TV. Do you have a single fact to back that up?
You know, this is the one where think you're funny.
You understand me?
I think you need to go get a dictionary.
Started off the podcast with a gulp. Did you pick up on that?
I did.
Oh, well, good. I guess we know then the audio is working to some extent.
Yeah. Get that microphone nice and close to your face.
All up in my mouth. Oh, that sounds
Much
delicious.
better. Just remember, this one's pointed at you.
Oh my God, look at that. I can actually, that's right.
Yeah.
This is unlike the other microphone of the past.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here we are. New curtain, new haircut, new microphones, and
Angry at technology.
well, yeah, inanimate objects. It's a good thing they don't have feelings because it would hurt them really badly.
Go on.
I mean, sometimes I hurt them very physically too.
Well, we can actually talk about this because this is not the first time we've had audio issues. Some of you may or may not have seen our Halloween podcast, which is just a disaster.
Audio
It was the Titanic audio echo of hell. It was just so disappointing because we recorded the entire thing.
Alex and I
afterwards
go through the fucking trouble of watching like 3 or 4 Halloween movies, or we watched 3 of them between the.
Yeah.
And then I watched like one other one just to round out the Halloween-ness that we were going to talk about in the podcast. So we did all that fucking movie watching and had a really, what I felt was a really good podcast. And then, well,
Nothing.
I mean, I saw you uploaded it and I did watch it, and it was like teetering on borderline.
It was like
mildly unlistenable,
bearable.
I listened to like maybe 20 minutes of it or a half hour or something, and I could. It was still nice to be able to watch it back.
Yeah. If it was the only audio you ever had, you could get by.
It just went too far over the line to be considered like uploadable or like content that you would pass off and be like, well, this is of quality.
Well, that was good enough for everyone.
Yeah.
Okey-dokes.
And then we go like a fucking month and a week without doing a podcast, and we finally get around to doing one again. We sit down and whoop-de-woo, audio trouble again.
Well,
our favorite,
we just had
good old fucking
tweak
trend.
it in.
It's just fucking ridiculous.
As you can tell, Matt's pretty upset about the whole thing.
Yeah, because it's like, I just wish it was fire it up, and just like every other fucking YouTuber you watch, you know, their audio all sounds good, and it's like they do it every day.
Well,
they flip their fucking shit on and they do their videos, and it's good audio, and like we're just over here like testing, and then like 3 hours later we're like no closer to getting anywhere, and it's like for fucking the last podcast that was really good got fucked. And then I was like, well, this one's, you know, now we're not going to do this one either. So yeah, I was like,
well,
fucking ridiculous.
The first one came down to basically Chrome not being able to update. So there was some type of weird bug happening with our audio because the Mac that we are using is too old to update. And then now we just have awful hissing in our mics. Not at the moment, but that's what I mean. Do you want me to show you?
God, I mean, how old is too old? Jesus. Oh, whoa, hey.
So there's the noise.
That makes podcasting more fun.
It's not terrible. It's just,
and I can hear myself like that because right now I kind of sound like I have a pillow over my face.
Well, that's a little bit because of here as well.
Yeah, is there any way we can holla, fix that a little bit? Okay, yeah, right in there.
You brained it up.
We're into the podcast now, and we're still fucking tinkering with dials.
Well, you wouldn't sit down long enough for us to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't fucking like make a noise about it, then we'd still be nowhere.
What? We think because you threw a fit, we're doing this now?
Well, we probably, yeah. Well, that wasn't even that was barely a fit.
Well, pacing around the room, cursing about how it's not fixed, while I'm over here trying to adjust it by myself.
Well,
Seems a little fittish,
I
but
don't know.
it's
I
fine.
kind of thought the plane was ready for takeoff, Captain, and
Well, you didn't say
didn't
anything.
expect
You
to be
just got up like a child
sitting
and
on
walked away.
sitting on the runway for 2 hours.
Yep. Don't make sure that plane's good
Well,
to take off.
you came in and we have these new fucking microphones and everything, and I was
The
like,
microphone
nice.
has nothing to do with
Well,
it.
I don't know that. I mean,
Well, then stop complaining about it.
I'm not at this point. I'm just answering
Oh,
questions.
my God. I didn't ask you a question.
Just shut up. Jesus Christ. That's so stupid. What the hell are we even talking about tonight?
It was audio issues.
Well,
Did you watch any good movies?
I don't know. Did I? Oh, yeah. Okay, here's a good one to talk about. I watched Bloodsport 4,
Oh, go ahead.
The Dark Kumite.
Oh my God.
Wow, I don't even know where to start with this one. I never saw Bloodsport 2 or 3, for the record.
Yeah.
I just came upon this movie somewhere, and I was like, wow, this looks terrible. The trailer looked terrible. And then I was just scrolling through Vudu, and it popped up, and I was like, oh, shit, there's that terrible movie that I saw somewhere the other day. So I watched it, and Jesus God, it was like some teacher gave like a middle school class like time during study hall to like write a stupid story,
Right.
and then during recess we'll go film it. And I don't know.
So it's the Thex films.
Pretty much.
It was just forcing itself to be a thing.
Yeah, it was just really bad quality. Like, it looks like they just rushed through every single set piece.
Right.
There was no, like, you could tell they did not even bother to block scenes or coordinate or cue anybody.
Right.
Shots were not framed up. Like, there were shots where the fucking, like, subject was standing, like, with half of his face cut off and his shoulder cut off. And he's like talking, and then the person he's talking to is like disgustingly like sort of in frame but out of frame sometimes. Yeah, it was bad. But anyway, and the audio sounded really bad, worse than ours even.
What?
Yeah, and
you mean there's something worse than this out there?
Yeah. So just quality wise,
I shouldn't have deleted that test footage because it was on. I literally had recording.
Oh man! Well, this was running.
Oh yeah, we should. We'll
upload
that later.
Yeah. See if I can top.
Fucking it's just wet, God. Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, it was directed at the technology.
It's okay. I wasn't.
For the most part.
I didn't take any personal offense being the one over here for 2 hours.
Well, I mean, we live together, and we're gonna be living together probably for the rest of our lives.
Wow.
So, I mean,
yep.
So this movie,
go ahead,
is about a prison where they make people on death row fight to the death.
Yeah. Okay.
In some underground chamber.
Right.
In this big martial arts tournament. Well, why do I say big? It wasn't like even a big tournament. It was like 8 people in the whole thing.
Right.
And there's like the warden.
This giant tournament of 8 people.
Yeah. The warden like wears the suit and is like the fucking business end of the prison, like running. I'm the boss of the prison, but the real boss of the prison, who almost acts like he's an emperor or something, like lives like somewhere fucking under the prison or something, and he has like a dozen like naked women that are always sitting and hanging all over him. He's just in this fucking basement all day long wearing like these shower robes. He looks like he's 70 years old. He's
like the mob after the mob.
He looks like Benjamin Franklin with like hookers hanging all off of him. And he's like, and he talks in this he like tries to be real scary, but he always is talking like he's thinking really hard about what he wants to say before he says it. And then he says it, but he's trying to be all like emperor-like about it. He's just just really silly. So they have this fucking like undercover cop infiltrates the prison to find out why inmates are disappearing because there's like reports of inmates disappear. Or yeah. And so he's like, oh, I got to go undercover and find out what the fuck's going on in here. And then he ends up like ending up in the tournament. And look, this whole movie is so stupid. It's like none of this is done well. None of it. If this sounds like it's interesting at all, which it could be done well, I guess. I mean, it's
well, what makes it
fucking amusing
just
seeing
like the literal execution is bad?
Yeah,
is that
it's
what you're
very,
saying?
very poor. It's just very fucking like amateur. The sound effects are bad, not just like the audio like recorded like on the day or whatever, but like the fucking sound effects they plug in
like the
are
sound
bad
design and mixing and stuff.
Yeah, all bad. And so they like had this tournament and they're like, okay, if you win, you get your freedom and you like $1 million and you get like to fly a plane to, wherever the fuck you want, and you're free.
Right.
And then so at the tournament, there's like Benjamin Franklin and all of his naked women are like surrounding this little arena. And then there's all these random fucking people like up in this balcony that are always cheering and clapping.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we have gathered the greatest martial artists, masters of various arts, and they start listing them like jujitsu and Muay Thai and Taekwondo and all the rest of like, and you're thinking like, oh, cool. So we're going to see this incorporation of all these styles and no, you don't. It's half of the fights are over in like 5 seconds. Yeah. All it is two guys like grappling, and one gets like his head like stuck between the guy's arm, and he just breaks his neck and he just falls down.
Oh, really? That's it?
That's it. Like this one fight is over in 5 seconds.
Oh my god!
And it's just supposedly fucking masters of whatever.
Masters of nothing.
Yeah, and in 5 seconds, one guy just gets the other guy in a headlock and pops his neck, and he's dead.
Right.
And that's it. This great fucking master of something, we don't even know what he was, just gets his neck broken in 5 seconds. And the fight before that was like 10 seconds, and it was stupid.
Right.
And then all the hits, kicks to the face, punches to the face are so obviously like not even being a stupid exaggeration. It looked like they were somewhere between a foot and 2 feet away, like every single time they swung.
It's like when they do that, like really stupid. Like obviously, when you're punching, you want to punch like towards the camera, so you know, like camera's here, you're punching, so you can stop, and it literally looks like. But you get those movies where like the angle is wrong, and then you see like this like weird like big long sweeping like out here motion. I don't get it. I don't get how you mess that up. Like, what does it come down to? Budget? Like, you got one attempt at this?
I don't like. So what I will give it is the people that you could tell that they were like a couple of them at least were legit martial artists because they could throw like really good kicks.
Right.
But in the choreography or whatever, I don't know if they did it better, but in whatever shot they used, even though they would like angle it in such a way where I mean, just fucking get a little closer. My God, it was just so bad. It was so obvious. So they were so fucking far apart. Like the guy in the background was like tiny.
Yeah.
And the guy is silly.
It was just too much.
Yeah, too much. And yeah, so I watched that, but it's just weird how movies, like, even if they're really, really bad, they're so stupid and you don't have to think at all. And it's just something on to just call dumb. I don't know, and just laugh at.
Where did you say you found the movie?
Voodoo.
Do you remember the rating was on Voodoo?
I don't remember, but on like IMDb, it's
Did you
like,
look it up?
Yeah, it's like 3 out of 10 or something really bad.
What was it called?
Bloodsport 4.
That's right.
Now, the first Bloodsport, I've only seen it once, but I remember thinking it was really cool. You know, good old Van Damme doing his Van Damme thing. And supposedly in Bloodsport 2 and 3, by that point you had a different actor.
Yeah, of course.
And in the fourth movie, it was yet again the same actor, but playing a different character.
Oh,
which is really weird.
Bloodsport 4. Is it a name?
The
The
Dark
Dark
Kumite, yeah. Oh,
Kumite.
it's so terrible. And I don't know.
A 3.1. A 3.1 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Okay, I will say one cool thing in the movie that made me go ooh, like an effect that was actually like pretty decent,
Yeah.
and it made me kind of cringe. Like these fights were all so fucking lame and didn't have any kind of cool deaths or anything. It was just all stupid, like neck breaks or
Right.
some guy stood on another guy's throat.
Right.
But the fight at the very end, um, the undercover cop was getting his ass kicked
Keller.
by like the villain. Yeah, it's such an undercover cop name, Detective Keller.
God.
So the undercover cop's getting his ass kicked by the main baddie, and when Keller falls onto the floor, all having his ass kicked, the
Right.
warden like leans over him to mock him or say something, and Keller takes a pen out of the warden's pocket and sticks it in his opponent's ear, and then jumps up and like roundhouses the pen further into his ear, going into his brain.
Right.
And then the guy with the pen in his ear is like still trying to stand there and like fight, and blood is just hosing out of the end of the pen. And that's the part that's not like how pens work.
Right.
Normally there's like a clicker on the pen, not an open hole.
Jesus.
But
God.
anyway, so it's just this fucking
much.
streamline of blood going out of the pen in his
Right.
ear. And even though pens don't do that
Do
when they're
anything
shoved
like
in
that?
someone's head, it just made me like go, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like this,
It's just that
like
sounds rough.
a movie where everything about it was bad, definitely including any visual special effects.
Here for
that
the
effect
viewers,
made me go, ooh.
yeah, for the viewers also. Here's what Matt literally said in the goofs during all. It can clearly be seen that there's no impact made. Claims it's bore sport, and then the best line is the movie botches the scene where you think there would be some good gratuitous nudity fights. Are very exciting.
There's even scenes, I don't know if they're dream sequences or really happening, but Keller is like having sex with some woman like somewhere in between the fights.
What?
Yeah. He's
Is
just
this
like he's
is
in
he
a
getting
bed.
beat up? Is it like this weird like flashback where he's like, this is how he's hanging on?
I
He's
don't
like,
know. I was barely paying attention. I think it was a dream because I think I remember the bed spinning and stuff. And
Oh
I don't
my
even
God.
know who the hell this woman was. I guess, oh, he had this female partner.
Of course.
And she was the worst actress in the whole movie. Like, oh my God.
That
Like
bad.
everybody was bad, but she was like, I don't even know how to put it. I don't know how to put it. It's
So it
every
just wasn't good
line.
acting.
Every line. It's. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about it. It was just really, 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 really bad. Really bad acting.
Well, the only thing I can say I've watched lately is a lot of children's Christmas movies.
Oh, which one of those
Just-
is the best?
Well,
Teletubby Adventure
no,
Part 7.
the Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2.
There's
That's
a
got
second one
yeah.
with Kurt
that-
Russell again.
Yeah, they just came out with it this year.
Oh,
It's pretty good. It's
Oh.
fun. It's a fun. I'll put it to you this way. It's fun in the sense of it's like not the same as a normal Christmas movie. So at least you get that. You know what I mean?
Well, I did see the first one.
Yeah. So it's a little like
but-
the first one's a little kind of like in the vein of a Christmas movie. The second one's a little farther outside, in my opinion. In a good way. It's not bad at all. I'd probably watch that probably sooner than like
So it's still a
Tim
Christmas
Allen.
movie, just not as Christmassy.
Well, I mean, obviously it's Santa and that type of stuff, but it's just like it just takes like a different course a little bit. So like it's this elf that somehow turned human. I think like if they get bad enough, they turn into a human or something like that. So it was like this story about him trying to get back into like the North Pole because he was kicked out or he ran away. And he was like trying to like, botch Christmas for Santa. And by the end of it, it's all happy and wonderful. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it can't end in bloodshed or Kurt
no,
Russell
it's not Fat Man.
grabbing a pump action and
Right.
going to town.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's not Fat Man.
It's not Fat Man. Which, speaking of Fat Man, we need to pick a Christmas movie and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that would have been really nice to have a Halloween and a Christmas podcast episode, but
Well, we'll just
guess it'll just be Christmas. Well,
until
hopefully
next year.
Yeah.
We did a Halloween episode, but you'll see the update next
We'll just
year.
we'll redo it instead of watching the Halloween movies again next year. We'll just from memory do them, and then we'll watch another Halloween.
I'm sure if we see like another Halloween movie, everything will come flooding back. It's not.
Well, yeah, we'll get in the spirit.
They're
of it
a
again.
little bit the same.
Yeah, we'll get right in the spirit of it again.
But
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, who doesn't love Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
I mean, he would be in my top 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'd be in my top 10 actors. Just like if he's in a movie, if I'm interested in something and he's in it,
right,
or I find out he's in it, then right away I'm like, okay, that's big points for that movie.
You're at least okay with testing the waters.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Just to see what Kurt Russell's got.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just like the guy. He's just a fucking big ball of charisma.
Yeah, he's definitely likable in those movies as Santa, which is a little bit funny, I think, to see him as Santa, but like he fits the role really well. I don't like think it would have been better with someone else necessarily, if that makes sense.
I didn't watch that Tim Allen shit. I think at school one time
that was straight up Christmas.
Somebody put that shit on when we were at fucking school together, like in the gym, and they made us watch it, and I didn't pay attention to a second of it.
That's one of the super safe.
I've never been interested in seeing one of those Santa Claus movies. Just whatever that is, I don't know. I just never even wanted to even give it a try. It's just whatever the fuck it's just so goddamn like, I don't know.
It is supposed to be what it is.
Yeah.
Marvel movie. You know what you're getting into. It's just a different version of the story. And those type of Christmas movies are the same thing, in my opinion, where
there's literally like, I don't watch movies just for whatever stupidness that Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3 gives you.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell you'd call that. Like, is there even any fucking tension in a movie like that, or any stakes, or
of course?
I mean,
of course there is.
Or any on edge moments.
Like the Tim Allen movie, he's like turning into Santa. He basically killed Santa on accident.
Oh well, that sounds cool. Maybe I will.
At
watch
the very
this movie.
beginning, it's no. I say he killed Santa. Like Santa, like slid off of his roof and died. Basically,
that sounds awesome.
It just basically was like a puff of clothes that like sank, and then he puts them on and becomes Santa slowly.
So when Santa dies, his body disappears.
Yeah, sure.
And Tim Allen puts him on, and he's Santa.
Yeah, I think it's the shtick is like whoever puts them on next becomes Santa.
Oh, does it address how the hell Santa can get to every house in the world in a single night and deliver all these presents?
Magic.
I mean, I saw Kurt Russell just being all like disappearing and reappearing.
Magic.
But even if you did that,
did you watch that Unprovoked?
What?
That Christmas Chronicles?
Unprovoked.
Like no one told you about it. You just saw it, and
I think I watched it because it was Kurt Russell.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not holding it against you or anything.
I'm trying to remember.
Definitely doesn't seem something like you're gonna like see.
If it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't have. But because it was Kurt Russell, I fucking watched it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool. It was fine.
Yeah, it was solid.
But yeah, like I would normally be completely turned off to a movie like that. I mean, a musical in there, like. But I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
it hooked me in. It found something to hook even a guy like me in there, and then I ended up liking it.
Yeah.
So
Ezekiel started watching another Christmas movie last night that was called. It's like a foreign film, and I think it's called like The Elf Named Dave or Dave the Elf maybe. I don't really remember. It was just super unique because it was like such a different like take on Christmas because it was a foreign. It was like probably Switzerland or like somewhere over there.
yeah,
I have no idea where it was, but that story was Santa. Santa has this like head elf named like Dave or whatever his name is that starts to get a little flustered about like just doing the same thing every year, and he's like, "Why can't we talk to people?" And Santa's like, "Oh, like they're awful and blah blah blah." And the last, every time I'm down there, I get heckled because everybody thinks I'm a thief, and like it just like cut scenes of like him on a roof and people in different languages screaming thief, and it's a fun approach, I think, to like a different story of Christmas. We didn't finish it last night, but it was very interesting. But Santa is like Kim was like, "What is Santa, like a mob boss or something?" Because he's just like angry all the time, and he's like smoking cigars, and like Mrs. Claus is like looking out the window, and he's like hiding the cigar behind him, and she's like, "Oh, what is that smell?" And he's like, "Must be the reindeer." And like it's just so like he walks down the steps for the first night of Christmas, the first time they go out, and he's like, "Is everything ready? Get out of my way!" And I'm like, "What?" What Santa is like? You can definitely tell Santa's not the lead.
Yeah, Dick Claus.
It's at least the beginning was pretty fun. It was, I guess, like refreshing in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun to see a different kind of take on Christmas.
Santa Claus.
It's always a really interesting way to like try to base a movie around Christmas. There's all kinds of ways of doing that to have like that Christmas spirit element in there somehow.
Oh yeah.
And you can have all sorts of different genres wrapped with the Christmas spirit wrapped all around it, and it's just interesting when you have that mixture of Christmas in there. Like it gives you this sort of this concoction or cocktail of a movie with that Christmas element thrown in, like even if it's mixed with an action movie or just like a horror movie or like with Gremlins or with Die Hard or with fucking Tim Allen, and it's just completely like family oriented, happy, jolly, spirited kind of shit.
Right.
Or fucking mix it with the Lethal Weapon movie. There you go, with action again. Or
Die Hard.
Or Die Hard, yeah, normally my go-to, but
your go-to Christmas movie.
Yeah. Shane Black, he likes to for some reason write his movies based around Christmas time.
Well,
and some would argue that it's like pointless.
Alt genre.
Yeah, I don't know if he just like really likes Christmas lights being in his shots and stuff.
Yeah,
just likes decorate. Like he just likes the way the lights and the fucking snow looks and stuff. So yeah, I get it. I don't know why he does it, but I can think of reasons why to do it.
Well, here's a question.
Why would you, if you're going to make a movie, why base it around Christmas?
Well, if you would make a movie around Christmas time and say you were going to challenge like the Christmas movie scene, what movie would you make? Because I actually don't know an answer. I don't know what I would do, honestly.
Oh, I guess something that involves the element of magic comes right to mind. But where we go from there, I have no idea. I mean, because if it's not incorporating that element, then
do you think you would vaguely stay in the like Christmas lane? Because not to like continuously bring up Fat Man the movie, but like I just think that was just like top 10 brilliance of like a different view on Mel Gibson's Santa Claus. It was just like wow. Like that's the type of idea I wish that I could have had.
Yeah, that was a really, really interesting angle to Santa Claus and elves and Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other movie that I can really compare it to because there's really not.
Right.
So,
But if you would make one, do you think you would hang on that like Christmas kind of like season vibe, or do you think you would just, I'll just release it in Christmas no matter what?
oh, it's hard to say. I guess it would. I couldn't say one way or the other really
Yeah.
right now. But yeah, the only thing I can think of is some kind of like I liked how Fat Man said, "Okay, we're taking Santa Claus that everyone knows and fucking elves. We all know he has them, and
Yeah.
the North Pole and all and the sleigh, but it's his truck, and here's our version of it." And like those are very Christmas based things, but I don't know if I would make a movie where it would actually have a character of fucking Santa Claus or elves or Frosty or
Right.
whoever. I actually can't really see that if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Like if you would ever direct like a Christmas movie.
Yeah, if I was, yeah, like if the movie took place at Christmas, I would think like some sort of Christmas element would directly apply into it rather than it just taking place at
Right.
Christmas.
Like I guess my question would be more like, would you, if you were doing a Christmas movie, or if someone was like, "Hey, we want you to direct this," would you be okay with like that typical Christmas movie? Or because like obviously you would rather lean towards like, "Hey, this is a movie about mobsters during Christmas time." You'd be like, "Okay, I
sounds
want to
cool.
do that one."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean if somebody like chose me or asked me to direct a film that was kind of in the same vein as like a
Right.
Tim Allen
Right.
Christmas movie?
Would you just like flat out be like, "No"?
Well, I would think about what that would look like on my resume
Right.
and take a look at the logistics and see if it would be even worth doing and how much they'd be paying me. And if that's, factor all that in to see if
Right.
it's even fucking worth doing. But on the other, I mean, if I had nothing else on my resume and like someone
Like if you had nothing
gave me
on
a
your
big
plate
budget,
and someone was like, "Look, we got $37
Yeah.
million to make this."
I don't see how I could say no. I mean, if someone's offering me, gonna bankroll me $37 million, I would make almost any movie if someone's gonna give me that much money to make something. I mean,
Right.
Jesus, yeah, just
Okay, well,
whatever the hell it's about, I'll
so-
make my version of it. I don't know what's gonna fucking spill out of this head of mine, but
Right.
whatever lands on the page, there's always there's very much when there's a will, there's a way. So
yeah,
when it
I
comes
think
to that sort
I
of
think
thing,
you powered through it
yeah,
for sure.
it'd be a fun challenge.
How much
actually.
of that am I getting? A lot. Oh yeah, I'll bear through it.
It's one of those ways of forcing, like, if you're struggling to come up with ideas, just like forces you into this certain like fence of thinking where it's
Right.
just a lot easier to mine things and ideas.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with too broad of a scope, it's just like you don't really know where to put your fucking you only got like so many shovels, to dig
Right.
with and find ideas. And if you have a big fucking field, you don't know where to put the holes. But if you can narrow it into like this concentrated area that's like rich in mineral deposits, and you can really get something out of there if you would just fucking take the time to focus on this spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's why I always like that idea with like when people are limited or filmmakers are limited by budget or whatever, they're forced to come up with creative ideas,
You have
alternatives.
to be more creative, or you just can't do it.
Yeah, which end up working better than whatever the original concept
Right.
was.
Green screen.
Anyway, in a lot of cases. I don't know what
Right.
the fucking actual ratio is of that, but you just hear a lot of cool stories about how things work out better when you are limited by budget or restricted by whatever else, or you end up having to, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, remember the scene where Indiana Jones just fucking shoots the guy with the sword, and that guy with the sword had trained for months, and they had choreographed this big elaborate fight sequence between the two of them, but come the day of filming, everybody had food poisoning because they were eating
Yeah.
the shitty food in whatever shitty country they were filming in. And Harrison Ford was sick too, and he didn't feel like doing it. So I think it was him that said, how about we just skip the fight and I just shoot him? I mean, I have my gun. That's what I would do anyway. That makes sense. And it did make complete sense.
Yeah.
And so they did it. And
it was like the most badass move too. It's just like, well, I've got a gun.
He's a complete motherfucker. He's a complete scoundrel.
Right.
Like, what the hell kind of hero shoots another guy without a gun? It's like you just don't really get that.
You don't do that.
No, but this fucking guy, he was supposed to take out or Indiana Jones was supposed to take out his whip and like get the sword from the guy or some, I don't know,
Right.
so some silly
It's supposed to be a big deal.
fucking Disney World theatrics nonsense. But instead he just pops a cap in him and that's that. So.
And that feels a lot better.
And just imagine, like, God, how much faster they got to move through the shooting schedule. Like, they probably got to skip like 3 or 4 or 5 pages.
They got to have a full lunch that day.
Yeah. And at the end of it, like, they're looking at the dailies and they're just like, whoa, I'm like, that's great. That's awesome.
Right.
Nowadays, you'd probably have some fucking prick that'd be like, oh, we can't have our youth.
Where's my shot?
Yeah, they're going to aspire to be like this man. And, if they see him shooting a unarmed man, then they're just going to go and shoot their friends.
Video games are violence.
Yeah. Well, we got to have the scapegoat, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But anyway, so trying to think if there was any other movies I watched. I watched Dune.
Oh, you did watch it?
Yeah. I watched
it on HBO.
Yeah. I was going to go to the theater, but
and you were like, whew, it's way more comfortable to stay home.
Well, I was going through HBO Max, and I wasn't
now.
planning on watching Dune, but I was just going through, and I scrolled past Dune, and my thumb hit down arrow again, but I was like, wait a minute. I thought I saw a play button there.
Yeah.
I went back up, and it said,
I didn't realize
now.
it was actually on HBO.
Yeah. So I was like, even though I should see this in a theater, I was like, it's right here, right now. So I watched it. And I could tell, God, it would have been so much better in the theater.
Yeah, of course.
It was a pretty super cool movie.
Now, did you? I guess here's an interesting one. Did you watch the original Dune?
No, but I sure as fuck want to now, because it looks warped. Like
what looks warped?
The old Dune, David Lynch's Dune.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's Corridor did like a comparison video and like some of the new stuff, or was it Corridor? Somebody did about like how just like the effects work and why they work in the new one. Yeah. And then they would like do cutbacks to like the old one, and it was just like ridiculous.
It was very bizarre looking. Yeah, in that old one, especially the shield effect.
Oh yeah,
it was so bad, but I like couldn't
it's just
look away.
Pixels, or it's just blocks.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous to me. Maybe that's the next one we should watch. We should just watch the original Dune.
Yeah,
because
have you watched the new one yet?
No, I've seen all types of spoilers.
It goes by. It goes by quick. It's one of the for being such a long movie. It's one of the most well-paced movies. It really kind of goes right by.
Yeah, because, I mean, I know like the basis of kind of the deal, I guess, but I've only ever seen clips of the old one, and obviously I've seen clips of the new one, but I definitely would be interested to see both of them.
Yeah, it's just there's all sorts of really weird things that go on in that Dune universe, and I'm not a fucking Dune aficionado or nothing. I haven't read the book. I don't know jack shit about Dune really, but it seems like there's all sorts of really like unique elements based in this Dune universe world or whatever. And some of the stuff's like really kind of weird and bizarre and fucked up. And I guess when Lynch saw that, he was like, couldn't wait to jump at the opportunity.
Right.
There's some other directors I really would have liked to have seen their take on it, but I'm still interested to see the old one. And the new one, I would like to see it again, just at some point.
Yeah.
Just because it looks like a pretty rich packed universe, and
Yeah.
interesting how they didn't give this movie an ending because
really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it doesn't have any sort of conclusion. It wouldn't be a standalone movie because things are left completely unresolved.
So
Just
it's super obvious that it's
yeah,
open.
yeah, super duper obvious. It ends like just flat out in the middle of a fucking like we're still in the middle of everything, and
Oh, okay.
things are just like, well, we'll pick up in the next one. But the next movie, at least at the time, I don't know if it is now, wasn't even greenlit, and yet they made.
Is it now? You said you don't know now.
I don't know now.
Let us take a look.
I would think.
What would it be called? Dune 2?
I guess.
Oh, 2023.
Yeah, I would be. I would have been pretty sure they'd be making the second one because I've heard mostly good
Yeah,
things about
Dune
the.
Part 2.
Yeah, but yeah, supposedly before Dune 2 was even greenlit, they made so if it didn't get greenlit, if there was no Dune 2, we would have only had Dune 1, but it would have
Right.
been a really weird movie because it just ends abruptly. It would have just been like another one of your TV series that just ends all of a sudden and they don't
Yeah.
pick up another season.
Interesting.
But yeah, it looks like they shot like on location with real fucking deserts and sand and everything. I mean, the
Yeah.
color palette of this movie is tan,
Yeah.
brown, tan, and tan.
Yeah.
And
You know, I'm pretty sure it was Corridor. But they were talking about how they pulled off some of the scenes, and obviously it was like either like on location, like legitimately, or on giant sets that were just like sand and like dust stormed and
yeah,
all this stuff to like blend everything in together. And they were talking about how they had like a really unique challenge in they could not use blue or green screens on anything because like all of that dust would just be reflecting and refracting all of that color. So
shit.
it would be impossible. So they literally use what they called like sand screens, just these giant like sand color boards or like things, and that's what they used instead of the green screens or blue screens, and they got away with it like perfect. And because these things were like so big that I'm pretty sure this is what it was. Is like some of the shots where like they were in those what were they, Firefly helicopter thingy bobbers.
Yeah.
Like in some of those shots when they were actually shooting, all they had to do was like put these giant sand screens up, and then all the actual sun reflecting off of them back onto like the actors was like proper color. So they basically didn't have to do anything. So it was just like shoot it and it's done.
Oh,
And
I'm
it was
trying
like
to
super
picture this
interesting.
sand screen, like what this even looks like.
Like a literal blue, like a green screen or blue screen, except sand colored.
And that would just be
just be in the place of that. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
And then digitally they mesh everything together. And because it's not blue or green, you don't have any issues blending because it's just the right color
Okay.
already. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to watch, a behind the scenes special features on. So yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, I thought the main dude, the kid, thought he did good.
The kid.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
I don't remember his name.
And this looked like they got all the big gun actors, like the the biggest fucking most sought after actors working today.
Right.
Oscar, I'm in every movie ever. Isaac.
Yeah.
Cool. Josh Brolin, who's just like a favorite now.
Everything. Yeah. Everything and everywhere.
Yeah. I didn't even realize Javier Bardem was that fucking hooded dude.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh shit! I didn't even realize till the end of the movie when the names were going up that, and I was like, who the fuck was he? I was like,
that's
oh
him.
shit!
Yeah. What do you know off the top of your head what the big deal with the original Dune was? Was it just like so weird that it was like popular?
I suppose so. I mean, David Lynch was
Yeah.
popular in that like real cult following kind of way.
So it was just name and timing, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the book was really popular, and there was a lot of people that wanted to see a film adaptation of that. So I mean, that had that going for it. So,
I always knew like of Dune, but I never was like, oh, this is why.
yeah,
I get it. This is why that movie was something special.
yeah,
But I guess it would be like Star Wars is too. It's just kind of like a chance. You know what I mean? Like at the beginning, Star Wars just like hit at the proper timing, but Dune's just like a whole nother animal, I think, in a way. But
yeah, I mean, it's got that element of being like, even though it's based off of something, it feels original and fresh, just because it's not yet another superhero movie, even though there's probably like 5 actors in it that have been superheroes. And it was, yeah, I mean, it had that sort of Star Wars-esque feel to it, being that it's got like takes place on another planet. You got fancy looking ships flying around coming from space, and you got big fucking creatures.
Yeah.
And
it's 10
cool
years
weapons
difference.
and shit. Wait, from
Star Wars to Dune. I didn't think it would be that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, the original Dune movie, yeah, it does look really, really bizarre and strange, and like somebody had a real good time with
77,
coming up with weird fucking ideas.
77, and then 87.
Evie was telling me about how when somebody dies in this one group, that they liquefy their bodies so they have something to drink. And I was like, well, that's born out of desperation.
You know what that's called? Efficiency.
Yeah, I was like, that's the kind of thing I want to know, because that establishes what sort of universe we're in here.
Right.
I don't recall if that actually happened in the new movie, or she just told me that it happened in the book, and I just missed it in the movie, or they implied it in the. I don't know. Whatever. But
do you
cool.
ever see yourself actually reading the books, or like maybe an audio?
I really don't, if I'm being honest with myself.
Yeah.
If we lived for an infinity amount of years and I could freeze time, I would love to experience all kinds of books and movies, and I would probably do the audio version, yeah. And if I could get my fucking head to just like stop being so scattered about things and just like focus like on the book. It's hard to focus on books for me. Like I have to be in an environment where I allow myself permission to be completely invested in the book.
See, I haven't found that environment yet.
Yeah. If I'm like fucking anywhere, there's just like too many distractions. I can't even get into the book. I got to do something else. There's something going on in this room that I have to do or take care of. If I'm like at the beach, there's no wall to plug into. There's no fucking laptop there. There's no distractions. I can be in the book, but I love reading. I fucking am into reading. I do like it, but yeah, audiobook would probably be easier.
Just breaking out the book stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not real versed in books, but now that I've taken a liking to this new movie, I guess if I was gonna start reading more books, sure, that'd be somewhere near the top, I guess.
See, that's why I like documentaries.
Documentaries are cool.
It's like reading a book without reading it.
Yeah.
Well,
how long have we been going?
Just under 50 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Do a short and sweet one so you don't get all tuckered out.
I am kind of tired.
Oh my god.
I mean, I could keep going.
From all the work trying to get the audio going.
Well, I didn't do anything.
Yes, I know. That was the
point. Oh, come on. That doesn't take... You just sit in a chair. It's not like you're physically exerting yourself.
I know. I'm just picking.
Just fucking exercising your fingers and thumbs, I guess. Testing. Let me spit it back clockwise. Testing. Now counterclockwise. Testing.
Well, I'm listening for the air.
Let me pull this plug out. Testing. Back in. Testing. Out. testing and
Well,
testing.
you know what I discovered while you went on your tantrum walk? I think we have some type of ground loop,
Ground loop.
which has something to do with like this, and this being all plugged in together on like the same outlet. But
How come this looks like a fucking alien control panel board to me? Like this is like how you fly a flying saucer. Like I don't even know what I'm looking at over here.
I mean, you do.
I could figure it out, I fucking guess, but it's just
This is the A10 Mini.
there's just so
This is
much
the Black Magic
fucking wires
monitor.
and inputs and all this crazy shit.
This is a mixer. This is where all your audio goes into.
I'm out of drink. I'm trying to think if there's every time we're about to like be done talking, I feel like there's really something very, very obvious.
One last thing.
There's
Come on, Steve Jobs.
There's something obvious that I just can't. It's just rattling around up here, and I'm about to lose it. I mean, Cobra Kai season 4 is coming out in just a few days, so I'm very excited about that.
Is it one episode a week?
No, they give you the whole thing all at once.
Do you try to make it last?
I mean,
All right.
if there's 10 episodes, I'll probably get through them in 2
Have you
days.
finished Squid's Games yet?
Mm-hmm.
You finished it?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Overall, I thought it was really enjoyable. I mean, kind of knew who was gonna win.
Yeah. That was the only thing they couldn't hide throughout the entire show.
Yeah, I mean, only one survives. And I thought the ending, like, every time we were presented a situation, I think it unfolded in the most interesting way that it could, for the most part. You know, like, it's like they really tried to take every opportunity that they could in whatever situation, whether it was the game or some fucking beef between two characters. Like everything unfolded in a way that I thought was interesting. The only game I didn't like was the one where they jump across the glass panels and one of them's fake and one of them's real. I thought that was fucking bullshit. Because that's completely unfair. Like, it doesn't destroy the whole thing or anything, but I just think it's a little bit fucking stupid to have these competitors get that far into the game where their physical abilities, their intellect, there's all sorts of factors at play that have gotten them that far.
Right.
And by the time we get to the glass jumping panel game, only like the best are still there. And then the people that have busted their asses to get that far lose just based on fucking chance.
Right.
Like it is pure fucking chance. There is no skill in this fucking game at all.
Well, don't you think that's a necessity in games like that? Because in theory, you could have like 20 people that just won't lose a game unless it's straight up head to head or chance.
I don't know. I think if you thought hard enough, you could come up with something else other than just.
Well, they were supposed to be like childlike games.
All it is just pick a number 1 through 16 or whatever the hell it was.
Right.
You might as well just, instead of this big of fucking elaborate jumping across panels, you might as well have just shot the first 13 people. Like,
could have.
Because that's how it's going to fucking turn out. Just statistically, a person cannot guess the correct 50-50 chance like fucking 10 times in a row. It's just probably ain't going to happen.
Right.
So I thought that was really stupid, actually. And I didn't like it.
That is just like not the thing I thought you were gonna be upset about.
What did you not like about it? Was there a part that you were like, eh?
I actually just didn't love the fact that he turned around at the end. Like in the very end,
he turned around.
Yeah, remember he took that guy's card. Remember the guy was playing that game in the subway.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And then he
Okay.
took his card and basically was like, you don't want anything to do with this. And then he called the number, and then, obviously that the game master, whatever you want to call him, like recognized who it was and was like, just leave it alone type of a thing. And then he's like getting on the plane to see his daughter with all these winnings. Just let it alone. Go see your daughter.
Okay, that's right.
And then he's just like, nope, this is the one time in my life that I'm going to see something through correctly. And then he turns around and it's like, well,
to play again.
You've thrown your family away or your daughter away to hopefully tear down this empire.
So he's going to try to
evil.
fight them or just participate again?
I don't know. Squid Games 2, maybe.
Because I don't get what he's
going to go back and try to.
If he's playing again, I don't know what he's trying to prove.
No, I think he would just go down. He would try to like tear that whole thing down.
So he's going to kill all the pink guys?
Sure.
They don't even look like they want to be there.
No, I think they would be. Well, I'm sure they're getting paid to some extent. They're past players to some extent.
Well, doesn't only one survive?
Yeah, but I think
they must have. Well, how would that work? They would have to play like 1,000 games.
What, 1,000?
There's so many guards. How can they all have been winners?
Well, there wasn't 1,000 guards, but
there was a lot of them. There was like 100.
Well, that's only.
They would have had to play 100 Squid Games.
Yeah, well, you could easily play like 2 or 3 times.
Why would they be guards if they just won millions of dollars?
Because they probably make millions of dollars again.
I don't think that's their players.
I don't really know. But obviously, the main guy was a player. The guy running everything was a player because his brother, the cop, found that out.
What's this part again with the cop?
What? That the cop that was like sneaking in. Did you watch Squid Games? Are we talking about the same Squid Games?
When did he die?
I think
how far did he get?
His brother shot him in the chest like 3 times off of a cliff.
Why am I struggling to remember this part about the
cop? The cop.
Remember
the main guy goes into the police and he's like, "Oh, it's these crazy people," and they're all like, "Oh yeah," and like he gives them, I think, that card or whatever it was, and so the one guy is like searching for his brother because he's been missing for months or whatever it was, or weeks. So he goes to his brother's apartment, finds the same card.
Okay.
And so he ends up getting inside of this place and then realizing his brother is the guy who's running everything in like the black outfit.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then his brother ends up and has to kill him.
That's right. Okay. Yep.
So my assumption is that the guards are then either paid handsomely as like a job they can't talk about, or they were other players that maybe were given deals or something. I don't know. That's just my guess. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot just because it was so different. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Like I said, the only thing I didn't love was the fact that he like turned around, because like the whole thing was like, the whole show was like, me and my daughter, like one day I'm gonna get everything figured out, and he finally does, and then he's like, not yet. Now I gotta tear down an evil empire. I don't love it, but
I don't really get why the hell anybody would play that fucking game when your odds of winning it are so minuscule. I mean, you're gonna die. You're like, hey, play this game, win a lot of money. There's like 450 players.
The idea is the debt thing. American debt is a little different than Korean debt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know it ain't so wonderful, but I mean, shit. You'd have your odds of like trying to fucking escape would probably be better than winning that game.
Well, yeah, it's the whole idea that you have nothing else on the outside. That's all. Like if you literally had no options and you couldn't pay off any debt that you had, and literally you're just going to jail for the rest of your life because that's the debt you have and you can't pay, and you basically have one choice, and it's you either go to jail and never see the light of day, or you play this game with, a 1 in 400 and some odd chance to walk away super rich and free. That's all.
Well, I don't know. I just
It's Hunger Games for select people.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just when you try to figure out what are better odds, winning this Squid Game, which we know is like 1 in 456, or escaping and changing your identity and never being
Right.
found and living life on the run.
Probably
see-
Squid Games.
I mean,
honestly.
if you can seek asylum somewhere, then where it wouldn't your debts wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know how that would work with all that. But anyway, isn't it kind of weird that player 456? He was the last numbered player, right?
456. Yeah, he was the last one.
And he also ends up being the winner.
Yeah.
That kind of bugs me.
Why?
Just that it was the last number, but he also ended up winning. It's just like, what are the odds of that? He couldn't have just been some other random number.
I mean,
in the
obviously, it
middle.
was the.
He just had to fucking be
main
the last
character.
one. I know.
You're picking on very odd things.
No, I know. He's the main character, but like the fact that the winner was also like the last number, it's just, I don't know. It's just like a weird thing. It's like, how come you weren't just some random number in the middle? How come you had to be the very last number, and that ended up being the winner too?
Right.
And like number 1 and number 456 were like buddies, even though number 1 was like a fucking sneaky Mr. Sneaky.
Right.
But,
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. What did you think of that old guy playing? Did you find that interesting at all?
At the very end, it didn't I didn't get fucking blown away or anything or anything about it. But I was just kind of like, about it.
Yeah.
I did think it was kind of neat when the old guy pretended to have like Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And then
that was such a great scene.
like fucking switched it up on the guy.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, when he thought he didn't realize, was too Alzheimer'd out to know he was being taken advantage of, and then he's just like, "Gotcha, I actually have my memory.
Right.
I see you're trying to fuck me over."
The one thing that I did, I did kind of catch though, is when they were playing that marble game when he was doing that switcheroo, and then he finally just kind of gave him all the marbles, and the main guy like walked out of the room. It was like I think one of the only times they didn't actually show a death, just straight up in a way, because like even if it wasn't like center screen, it was like out of focus in the background, and you could just see the blood. Like it was all like very in your face for the most part. And it was the only time they didn't just flat out show the death, and I was like,
yeah,
that was and I was like, something's going on with that. So that's why I wasn't surprised when he was finally like, he walked into that room and there's the old guy.
I wouldn't have guessed. I thought they were just kind of like treating the character like in a graceful sort of way, because he was like just this endearing, sweet old man that you're supposed to really sympathize with and like, that they were just kind of paying a certain sort of respect by not showing his
just
brains get fucking caked all over the wall.
Right.
So yeah, they kind of, I didn't see that one coming really at the end, but I haven't really watched or dug into anything more about it, but there's like supposedly all these like clues and hints, which I actually really love, that you can pick up on throughout watching, that indicate player 1 is not what he's pretending to be throughout the whole thing.
I'm sure.
Like with the in the first game with the red light, green light, how the automated guns, like he's very clearly moving and the target just kind of like ignores him,
looks away. Oh, I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I suppose I saw it in a thumbnail on a YouTube video, and so
very interesting.
It makes me kind of want to dig into it a little bit.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of shit to dig into. There's just so much going on all the time.
Yeah,
you go to YouTube and there's just so much to watch.
Everything.
There's so much to watch on YouTube. There's so much to watch, movie wise, show wise, everything wise, podcast wise, book wise. It's isn't it nuts? Like, we just don't fucking live long enough. There's so much like media and content and art to take in,
Yes.
and there's just you got to pick and choose. You can't. Well, unless we'll be able to download it into our brain one day, which that could be tomorrow
Like
for
Matrix?
all I know. The
Well,
world's so
probably not,
fucking
but-
weird. Life is just so weird and crazy. It's wild right now. It's wild. Everything is nuts. I don't even know how to process it. Life's just crazy.
You okay over there?
Yeah,
Life's crazy.
it is. It's nuts. It's just
I
fucking
don't think
nuts.
it's that crazy.
Well, you're crazy.
Yeah,
You
probably.
don't think life's crazy? Life
I
is
really
nuts.
don't think my life's not that crazy. Is your
I
life
mean,
really crazy?
Well, it's like, how do you define crazy?
I think
I have
that's
crazy
relative.
thoughts.
That's relative, though. Defining crazy. I mean, there are people literally in town in the square yelling at cars. That's actual crazy to me.
There is in Hanover right now.
Yeah.
People yelling at
Oh
cars.
yeah. I've seen. My card's been yelled at.
I would think that for as long as well, I don't know when this would have started, but at a certain point somebody screamed,
God.
and from the point they screamed until this moment right now, there has always somewhere in the world been a scream happening, so that you could chain them all together where the screaming never stops. There's never been a pause in the screaming. There's never been a time in the world where for one moment there was nobody screaming. There's always somebody screaming.
You okay, pal?
Even if that's screaming at a car or me screaming into the sky.
Okay.
Just like
Well-
the same thing with the word fuck. Somebody's always saying fuck. Like as I'm saying fa, somebody is already starting or completing the same word. And so there's always fucks being said. It's just a question of how many. But if the word fuck makes angels weep and God cry, then he'd just be crying forever. Just never ending waterfalls of tears and rain. Maybe that's what rain is.
Is that why you're not supposed to say bad words? Is that why they say that?
Who
God
says
cries.
that? The
The Bible-
self-appointed, self-righteous men of God who say swearing is
Don't-
wrong.
Why do they say swearing is wrong?
I don't know where they get it from. I mean, I know there's a Bible verse about you will give an account for every idle word, but what's an idle word? Just a word you don't think about very much?
What we're doing right now.
These are all idle words.
We're gonna have to explain every word coming out of our mouth.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's gonna
Give
be
an
a long
account,
eternity before we go to hell.
I have to give an account of every single idle word. I mean, this is going to take forever. I'm not going to have the patience, nor you.
That's
No one's
what
going to have the patience
eternity
for
is,
this.
pal.
So we're just going to stand there and I don't have to explain why I said
Saint
everything
Peter
I
is
said.
gonna come out.
I don't
like
fucking know.
He's gonna come out like this.
Yeah, that's
Day one. Unnecessary crying. Explain
I
yourself.
mean, unless God gives me some kind of like memory enhancement pill,
yeah.
I'm not going to remember why I said that fucking 99.9%
What
of
if
what
that's
I said.
what if that's the kicker? We get to heaven, and all of a sudden, every thought, every like we ever had comes rushing back in like full emotion.
That's kind of what it is like when you have mushrooms. I thought about every interaction I've ever had with every person in my life, and I
Yeah.
could feel what they were feeling during the interaction, and I
Yeah.
remember how I felt, and then those feelings were amplified
Yeah.
to a point where
Did you cry?
yeah, but it was because I was just in fucking awe
Yeah.
of like because being a high, or do you call it high when you're on mushrooms?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, you feel like I felt like there was literally another presence there with me.
Yeah.
Because you can be outside and you're in the presence of trees and grass and clouds and
Yeah.
whatever, but you don't feel, well, I guess you could feel like connections to nature and stuff, but this is different. It's like there's actual like this
You can feel.
force that is
Yeah.
aware of you and you are aware of it.
Yeah.
And like it is right there with you and inside of you and around you, and you're just absorbed in it, and it's like it's trying to tell you something, deliver messages. Like it's just very, very much like real.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah,
I know
so-
as you're explaining this, you're like thinking this
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but I 100% agree with you. It's
yeah,
not,
I mean,
see, the Christians would call that the Holy Spirit, and that's what they would claim that that's what you're supposed
Sure.
to be feeling.
but it felt good. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I liked about it was I didn't feel like this presence was there to hurt me or harm me.
Well, of
I
course.
feel like it was there to teach me something and remind me that like you have a place, you have a meaning. Even though on a regular basis I think about how none of us have any meaning and this is all
Well,
just an
that's
accident
because
and
that's
random.
that's your brain.
Well, sure, but my brain is my brain. It's just it's there and I'm just like stuck with it.
Discipline your brain, boy.
Jesus. Discipline your brain.
It's a thing.
Okay. What do you just sit there?
I
and
thought
go,
Derek would have knocked you in the shake.
I just picture you and you're like getting out of the shower with putting on a fucking orange robe and just like walking
Oh,
up
bro.
on top of a hill and going
I've had
home.
experiences in the shower, man.
Oh, yeah, that's where we have our best thoughts. Best script ideas come in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the hell were we
My
talking
orange
about?
robe.
We let's back up a
You're
minute.
eating mushrooms outside. And
Before
feeling
that, we weren't even talking about mushrooms. We were talking about something
our
else.
idle comments.
Oh yeah, how we're gonna give an account and all of that. But yeah, like when I did not fucking feel bad during that time. I felt bad about a lot of things, but
Right.
I did not feel bad about like swearing or
Yeah.
using bad words or saying "God damn it" or something like.
Right.
And so, like, if this was indeed God and he was, the Christian God or whatever, like, I don't know, wouldn't he have made me feel bad for saying "God damn it" so much?
No.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, he wouldn't. You want to know why?
Sure.
Because that God that you were told to believe in that would make you feel bad is the God of a man, not God of
a
God.
man. Not the God of God.
What I'm saying
Is
is
he God of himself?
that construct called God, where a man tells you, hey, you need to feel bad for all these things because you're not worthy enough, that is from a man.
Mhm.
God does not say any of that. He never has. Look in the Bible. God never said anything like that. Ever.
Mhm.
Not once. Man did.
It's a pretty boring book, so
That's what I'm saying.
I've tried to read it, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. If God was so gaudy, then he should have been able to. He should be the best writer ever. He
Well,
should
God
be able to write a
once
riveting
again,
book.
God didn't write the Bible.
And it is a snooze fest.
God didn't write the Bible. You do know this, right?
But he says that in the Bible that like,
He doesn't say anything.
this is all fucking like inspired.
No, a man wrote
inspired by
everything
Well,
is
how do we-
inspired by
I know,
God.
I get it. I'm on your side. I'm just saying.
God didn't. I'm saying you have to disconnect that from actual God because it's two different things.
Well, I
It's
know.
not even close to the same.
Well, now aren't we talking about like different versions saying different things and different
No.
fucking
I'm
meanings
saying
and interpretations?
church. No, I'm saying church and the Bible and Christianity are separate from God.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So when you
Uh-huh.
say, well, why couldn't God write a better book? God had nothing. Yeah, there were some things probably inspired in that, just like
yeah. Facetiously
movies are
speaking of
inspired
those
by
that
God, but
facetiously speaking of those that interpret the Bible as the literal word of God.
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's written by men. We know that. Yet there's a verse that says all this is inspired by God. But any dude could have just written that.
I
like,
can also write that in the notes.
yeah,
for the
I could write that
podcast.
on this desk. I could carve it into the wood.
Right.
And just write some fucking thing like, Alex is not lactose intolerant. This carving is inspired by God.
Right.
That doesn't make it true.
Well, if it made it true, I would have written 100 of them by now, just to make sure.
I like this desk. Actually, there's so many fucking burn marks in it from or not burn marks. There's like little flaky
Devil's grass.
chips and shit, and
Yeah.
yeah, devil's grass infused into it.
Oh no!
Sometimes the dab material drips
What?
onto the.
Excuse me.
Yeah, dabs don't do what mushrooms do.
Sinner.
It's been a while since I've had mushrooms. I gotta see what that being is telling me. You know, it's interesting because it's like after I did that, it's not like another drug where, oh, I can't wait to do that
Yeah.
again.
Well, you can't wait to do it again in a sense, but
Yeah.
it's not like an addiction.
Because it's so it. I mean, Jesus God, it's like a fucking insane experience that you feel like you should only. It's like the kind of experience you feel like you would only have once in your life, but you can have the experience every time you just eat the simple fucking mushroom. It gives
Yeah.
you access to this world, but the world that you're thrust into is so crazy. It's like you need a time off
Right.
to process I was processing for days and weeks everything that I experienced.
So, do you remember the feeling of being in that state?
Yeah.
Like, can you find that feeling now? Or do you feel like it's too far removed from like actually just having the mushrooms in your system?
Well, I can like recall the places I can see in my head what I was seeing then. And I can recall like all the settings I was
like
at.
that feeling and emotion and
yeah, I can be right back there again. I suppose like falling down a roller coaster, you can't like recreate that feeling of falling unless you actually are falling. You just remember at one point you were.
Here's
how fucking crazy it was.
Here's my like love for life. I think in the moment, I think what you just said was wrong. Because about the like, I don't think you can recreate that. Like, if you're not falling, you're not falling type of a thing. Because the one thing in this world that can recreate and produce chemicals that some like will never be able to replicate is the human body. So in saying that, why I ask you how I did is like, if you can like pinpoint that in yourself and like kind of like replicate that. And I know it sounds goofy, but like if you ever do meditation, meditate on that, and you actually train yourself to like have that. Maybe not, obviously you're not high and tripping off of mushrooms, but like you can get back there without the mushrooms.
Well, here's a good example. When Kim and I went to go do the yoga, after I finished the 1 hour yoga, and I actually tried in there, we did this thing where we just laid on our back and closed our eyes. That was like better than any joint or dab I've taken in the past years. I just like floated to another plane and was so happy and blissful and comfortable. I just felt like I was on a cloud. With a warm blanket wrapped around me.
I know you were making fun of me about like being in the shower and like coming out in my orange robe and like, you know, I'm probably like levitating over the fucking bathroom floor. But one of my favorite things to do, and I know it sounds so weird, but my mind works like analytically fast when I'm doing things. And it's just kind of like what you said, your mind's just always going. So it's hard to like calm down and just kind of push it to the side almost. One of my favorite things to do, and I don't do it enough, is there's a band that I've told you before about. The name is High Lung, and they sing like old Nordic pagan type music.
Oh yeah,
and it's like very just like, you know, like you know, just like. They literally play deer skin drums and rattle freaking deer antlers. And, you know, there's just a woman screaming in the back. And it's like so guttural and natural. And like it hits like something inside of me that if someone would say, like, your great grandfather was in like a pagan group and he did that, I'd be like, I know. Because it hits something so like
primal,
but it's like beyond me. Is the best way to say it. So I put that on in the bathroom as loud as I can go, so I can't hear anything else. So naturally, because I can't hear anything else, my mind starts to focus on just that music. Then I get into the shower and I sit in the shower with the rain hitting my face. And then what that does is it makes me concerned about my breath, because when I open my mouth to breathe, there's water and I don't want to choke. And about 5 minutes in, I'm telling you, 5 minutes in, I have more of a high than I ever have before. Ever. Like, and when I step out of that shower, yeah, it does. It feels like,
Yeah.
if I believe I can float, I can float. And the reason why I say this is because, like, to me, it is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can hang on to that type of mindset where you can, that's why I was joking with you earlier about disciplining your mind. But like
Brain hack.
Yeah. But like, if I know how to tame this thing that I say controls me, then I win every time.
Yeah.
I'd never lose.
Yeah.
Because as long as I have control, then I have control.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody is searching for, is like control of themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why I said, if you can find that spot, if you can find that emotion, if you can enter that area, it doesn't matter if you ate mushrooms or you're high or you smoked, had a dab or flower or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you can find that spot, find it and grab a hold of it, and then distract yourself, or learn how to distract yourself and stay in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you discipline yourself into controlling yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not like preaching to you or nothing, but like, it's super hard to do. But like, once you kind of, like, for me, when I found that shit, like, that was like such a hack for me. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Makes
Like,
taking showers a lot more fun.
It
You look
was
forward
like,
to it every day.
I don't want to do anything. You know, it's just interesting that way.
Yeah. I suppose, like, putting themselves in a environment that's maybe unique unto them, and so listening to sounds, certain sounds or whatever. I don't know, maybe you like formulate these certain ingredients to give yourself access, a certain form of meditation, to each their own individual, to access like such a place in their mind. And I suppose to each individual, getting a hold of their own mind or control of their own mind, to some it's like lassoing a fucking bucking bronco, and others it's like, man, trying to tame a lab puppy,
which is also awful.
Well, yeah, actually bad example. Yeah, it can be.
No, I get what you're saying though. Yeah, it's not super easy. This is such a weird topic all of a sudden.
That's what happens when you go to Mushroom Town.
But I think just everybody would benefit from, like, just like you said, doing the yoga thing and just like laying still.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because you're in a room full of people, it forces you to behave. Like, it forces you to not be like, well, I'm getting up now because I'm bored.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be that person.
The strange is, like, I don't think I would have the discipline to hold myself in these poses in this room by myself, because I would break for some reason. But when you're like in the environment,
like, find an excuse to like stop. Yeah.
When you're in the actual yoga room and you're in that atmosphere and the instructor's across from you doing it and you're mirroring them and there's like a bunch of other people around you, you don't want to be the fucker in the room that's like not doing it. So you hold it just like everyone else is holding it. We're all in this together, right?
Right.
You kind of have that sort of camaraderie feel. And like, after you actually do put yourself through this shit for an hour and you actually do fucking hold these positions that you would never fucking have put yourself in otherwise, if you actually trudge through all this stuff and then just lay on your ass and close your eyes, that fucking does the shower trick that it does for you.
Yeah.
Like that definitely got me there. That was like, I remember like, they're like, okay, open your eyes, we're done. And I was like, I didn't want to come out of that. I didn't want to come back from that. I just wanted to stay on the fucking floor for forever.
That's why, like, another reason I think I have a fascination about our old house, or my old house, the farmhouse, is just like the land, obviously. But there would be times where like I would go out and just like lay in the field. And because there wasn't like in that area, there wasn't like a ton of like light pollution. So like when the night was like clear and it was like, I wouldn't say warm, but like when it was decent enough to go out, you know, it was just like beyond peaceful. Or like I would go into the woods and just kind of sit or walk, and there's like such a weird experience like when you're in nature and then you're quiet enough for like nature to accept you're there. And I know that sounds so weird, but like hunters would probably understand that, where it's like
You're just part of it now.
yeah, you get there and you're quiet enough that the animals start moving again, or like you start like understanding like the differences in noises, and like it's just like all of a sudden you're like part of it now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's what I would assume, because I've never done mushrooms, but I would assume that's a little bit of the same feeling, where like you're in this place and then all of a sudden you're shown that you are part of it.
Mhm.
And then it's like it's just like it kind of starts to make a little sense in a weird way,
Yeah.
you know. And then when you come out of it, it you know, it's just still the hustle and bustle and whatever it is, you know.
Yeah. It's just weird, just like being in that world. Like I always, at some point when talking about mushrooms, mention that, you know, it's literally like it just moves the veil out of the way and you see the world for what it really is. And there's no like rubbing your eyes and unseeing shit. There's no like, oh, let me take a deep breath and maybe this will go away. You're just like stuck with it.
Now when you
Whether you
say
like
that,
it or
what do you
not.
mean? Like give like at least the best example you can give of just like a
So when I took these mushrooms when I was in the basement watching TV, and I could see things were starting to get very weird. I was watching TV and people talking on the TV, and their faces started to look very strange. And I got out my phone and was like looking through Facebook, and everyone's face just looked really. Everyone looked like
reptile,
like
overlords.
lizards or dragon people.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, everyone looked like they had like 4 pupils and then 8, and then like a bunch of eyes wrapping around their head. And
Bro, what if that's what we really
I could
are?
like I literally felt like a fucking like snake tongue was gonna come out of their mouth. Like they looked so lizard like. And you can't like not see it. It just is. That's what's crazy. It just fucking is.
Yeah.
So I knew wild shit was going on with my vision. Colors were morphing and shape shifting around, or geometric patterns were forming, and it's crazy.
Fast forward
I was
30,
like, basically
30 minutes, he's calling me to ask
Yeah.
what color his
Yeah.
shed is.
Yeah, I was like,
While I'm shitting on the
if
toilet.
this is what it looks like in this dingy ass basement, then I got to see what outside looks like. And it was fucking incredibly wild.
Right.
I get out there, and yeah, the grass, every blade of grass was swaying and moving. The landscape was going up and down.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like, again, it didn't look like I had something in my fucking eye or I was just dizzy or something. It was just
it was what it was.
Standing still, and there it was. You could just watch the show. The street was like milky blue. I remember that. It was like the magic milk and cereal with the magic cereal, how it turns the milk blue. And yeah, the shed was really wild because it kept changing colors.
Yeah.
I would look at it, then I would turn and look the other way. And when I looked back at it, it would be a different color. And it was so much fun. I'd look away, I look back, it's pink. I look away, I look back, it's brown. I look away, I look back, it's yellow. And then it started changing like shape and height. Then all of a sudden it was a skyscraper. Crazy, right? How the fuck can it be a skyscraper? It's this fucking little fucking shed right next to me. It's like the top of it's not much higher than my head, yet it's in the clouds now. And it just fucking is. And you're like, I'm looking at it. It's in the cloud.
Right.
And your perception of how far things are from you is crazy. Like I'd be walking towards my house, it would look like it was 10 miles away. Then all of a sudden I'm like right up on top of it.
Yeah.
No, it just makes no sense. It was, yeah. And for hours, like this was all during the day. and then it gets to be at night, and I'm still just running around the neighborhood, I'm skipping through meadows, just experiencing all of this. And yeah, ultimately at some point I ended up laying in bed just with some like Watch While High video on of the
Right.
stars or some fucking, and that's when I felt like I was like laying there with God
Right.
pretty much at that point. And and I remember I teared up there, and at some point in the basement, I don't know. I was in the basement. I was outside. I was in the room. I was back outside. I was back in the basement.
What do you think you
I was just-
teared up for?
I think because it was just so I was so awestruck. Like I was feeling so much that it was like this fucking pressure that needed to be released, like a valve or something. It just like
Right.
had to get out of me because it was just so fucking powerful.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like crying because I was sad or upset or remembering something that was sad or upsetting. I think it was just happening just because it was like, well, I think it did have to do with the fact that I could feel an actual other presence there with me.
Right.
Um,
Explain it.
and I guess because it felt like it actually cared, like it was a comforting sort of feeling, and maybe that's why it like caused a tearful reaction,
Yeah.
I suppose, because it's just like, oh my God, you're real and you actually give a shit
Right.
and you're there with me. Oh, okay, everything's fine. It was just like, it was very much like a everything's gonna be cool kind of thing. Like, and it's like, here, I'm gonna show you some shit, and I'm just showing you, and learn from it, and it's cool no matter what. We're good. You may not like all of this, but I'm gonna show you anyway. And it showed me in such a way where I didn't even like feel bad about seeing it. Like it didn't make me feel like, oh, you should be ashamed. You're such an awful person.
Right.
You should feel guilty about this, and that. It was kind of like just telling me like, hey, you're just a human being, and there's billions of other ones, and like, here's where your strengths are. Continue on them and continue growing. Here's where your weaknesses are, and work on them. And let me show you and tell you about this interaction and that interaction and this person that was in your life and this person that is still in your life. And let me tell you how things are going with them and what they're thinking and feeling. And it did that with like everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, the list goes on and on and on. So
now, do you sum that up to just mushrooms, or do you sum that up to like you had an experience? Or how do you break that down in your head? Because I know some would be like, "Oh, that was a mushroom trip," and that was it. That's all they would say.
Yeah.
And then some would be like, "I met God," and that's all they would say.
Yeah. Well, like I've never felt that it was like the first thing that comes to mind is like the experience itself. It's not about the fact that like, oh, I took mushrooms and I had a mushroom trip. It's that like the mushrooms was just like the way I chose to access it.
Like that was the door.
That's just what got me there, and that's just
Right.
what showed me that like this place is real, and it
Right.
it made me think about like everything differently.
Right.
Now that I've gotten a visual of this world, that it's there. So yeah, now it's just kind of like a part of my life, and it's just like a part of living now.
Right.
And it's something that I remember and think about often. But yeah, despite that, it's like a place I've wanted to go back to and revisit. And I know I will at some point, but until that day, like it's cool that I like experienced that I can think about it whenever, and I still
Right.
remember like that feeling I got from it, and I still kind of have that feeling of whatever that being was. Like I kind of feel like it's still always there, and that's important. That's a good thing. Yeah. Whatever that was, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like to even call it like like a being almost feels like an insult. Like it feels like it was just beyond being. It just
See, the reason why I ask, like, if you can explain it at all, is because like it just kind of goes back to my like thought process where it's like I just think as humans there are things that are in this world, and when I say in this world, I mean because we only can sense how many frequencies or spectrums. I just think there are things that are here that we will or cannot on a daily basis access or interact with. So it's just like, what else is here? Like, what else is right beside me that I cannot know or I do not know at this point?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to me because, like, when you say, like, you feel a presence there, well, either, like, to break it down super stupid, it's like either your mind is creating that feeling for you because it has like the capacity to do that because of mushrooms, or you are accessing something that you normally cannot just, with a click of your fingers. So it's just super interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's almost like there's no correct combination of words in the English language to really describe it. It's just you can only know by feeling it. However it is you get there, and whatever it is, it's like it was everything. It was infinitely big and infinitely small. It was the size of the universe, but it was also the size of an atom.
Yeah. And that's why when you said earlier, like, if if you got to heaven and like there's God, what does he look like?
Oh yeah.
And it's just kind of like,
that was before the podcast.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Like my answer to Matt was like, I just think he would be, because I don't think that's why I like to tie that into the human mind. I don't think our human mind can say this is what it's going to look like. This is what, if there is a heaven or a God, this, I don't think we can say this. Like, it's definitely not the picture of Jesus that your grandmother has on her wall. That's just this white man with brown long hair and a nice beard.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, because if someone said, well, describe this presence, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
How? I can't.
Yeah.
Like, it was invisible, yet it was everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it was the pillow my head was on. It was the fucking air floating in front of the TV. It was the wall. It was the curtain. It was the grass. It was the cloud. It was everything. It was just like there was.
Some would say we're all
connected.
Yeah.
It's like it was like every single thing that I'm seeing and feeling and smelling and touching and all the senses, like all of that all came from the same place. It is all made up of the same creation or matter. Like,
which technically it is.
Yeah, it all. Yeah, it's like all of it is unified in some way, and it's like saying, like, it kind of felt like there was once all together, and now it's all expanded, and it will be all together again. And
did you meet the being that created the Big Bang?
I guess that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean though. Because that's like, out of technicality, it is. It's all made. We're all made of the same stuff. There's no difference. Yeah. It's just the combination.
Yeah. So I mean, fuck. I don't know what you call, but if like a person has like that sixth sense in them that tells them, like, I feel like there's another presence here,
right? Then
like it's like, yeah, I definitely felt that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't just because when you feel it that fucking strongly, like, it's not just seeing geometric shapes and colors shift around. Like, yeah, you get that too, but that is like nothing in comparison to what you're actually presented with. That I just like attempted to describe.
Yeah,
like that's the real showstopper.
Right.
And I don't even know. I don't remember the measurement of how much I took, but I don't think it was a crazy fucking amount.
Right.
I mean, people that are versed in their mushroom lingo would probably understand, but I think I took somewhere just below like what a heroic dose is, but I forget how that's
What
measured.
is that like a heroic?
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
measurement.
it's referred to as a heroic dose.
Oh my god!
And when I got it,
you know the lingo.
it was something just below like a heroic dose, or right over the line. I don't know.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
So it wasn't like a fucking crazy amount,
right?
But it was a good amount, not like a beginner's amount either.
Right.
So, because I mean that wasn't my first time.
Because I ain't a pussy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
That wasn't my first time. I had taken mushrooms 2 other times. The first time nothing happened. The second time was purple and green colors shifting around in some geometric patterns. No fucking experience with
and
God.
Then you went big or go.
And then the third one was, oh fuck! Now we're just in another realm. Yeah, and that's not. And the crazy thing is, like that, whatever the hell that was, like, Jesus Christ. You compare that to like DMT or something, which I've never tried. Like, and hear what those people have to say.
Well, that's like somebody we know who really, really wanted me to go on an acid trip with him. It's just interesting to listen to people that have had experiences like this, because they all have like kind of the same, it's not all the same, but they all have a little bit of the same like feeling of like, I was taught things, I was shown things, like, you know, there was these beings of some sort. And it's just like, once again, it's like when a coincidence becomes like a pattern, you can't necessarily just pretend it's not there anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when a pattern shows itself over and over and over, it's not a coincidence anymore. It's starting to be legit.
Yeah.
Like there's something there. And it's not, you know, the people that I know are not the only ones that I've ever heard say anything like that. I mean, there's plenty of documentaries of all kinds of stuff people have taken or testing on people with different substances. And it's like, it's all vaguely it's all kind of the same to a certain extent. There are some people, just like in your case, that don't experience anything, but it just makes you wonder a little bit, where it's like, man, is this like the key to the door? Mm-hmm. And like, if there is a door, like, man, what is on the other side of it?
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know. To me, it's fun. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Because even growing up, I was like, I do not want to be the biggest thing this world has to offer, this gal as a human being. I don't want to be the best there is.
Too much responsibility.
I want something to be out there that is just like megally more omnipotent than like what we claim to be as humans. I'm not saying like me personally the best there ever was, but just like the race of humans.
Yeah.
Like I just think we're too big for ourselves.
Yeah. Overrated.
Just kidding. I'm the reptile lord.
Oh, yeah, everybody is when you're on mushrooms. I did not see any people in person that day.
Yeah.
Strangely,
I didn't come over.
Yeah, I wanted you to. I wanted somebody to come over.
Remember.
Because I just wanted to. The one thing I had to fucking do was share this experience somehow with somebody. When you're seeing this shit unfold in front of your eyes,
right? You
can't keep it to yourself.
Right.
You have to like. You're so fucking awestruck. It'd be like if like a spaceship landed like right outside the bungalow,
right,
and little green aliens and a T-Rex came walking out with like a mech suit on. I would want to call you and tell you that this is crazy. Yeah, I would just stand there and look at it and be like, huh, interesting, and then go back inside.
Oh, well, that seems weird. All right, going to sleep.
Actually, I think I'd fucking run and hide. I mean, that's pretty scary.
A T-Rex in a mech suit, I'd hope.
I mean, if it already spotted me, well,
it's over.
I don't think as much I can do.
Bungalow's gone.
I think I would just like get down on my knees and just
Where's
be like,
that 38 you have?
Like, look, I am yours. I am your servant.
I am your right-hand servant, human.
Yeah, I'll go find you food, whatever. I'll get you gas for your fucking
T-Rex car.
Well, I was gonna say whatever that fucking machine suit he's wearing
Oh
is.
yeah,
Needs some
because
kind
it
of
definitely
fuel.
runs off gas.
Whatever. Yeah, probably human blood. But whatever.
Oh my god. Well, that's a good place to end it.
Where is it at now?
Mech tech suit.
So we were at 50 minutes when we were talking about ending it. Now it's an
Yeah.
hour and 50 minutes almost.
Well, we only had to start.
We pumped an
talking
hour
about
of mushroom talk
mushrooms.
into
Yeah,
it.
it's no big deal.
I mean, we were doing fine with like at least we had some focus before. It was like Dune and like
Yeah, of course.
movies and stuff, and then whatever this other category was toward the end.
Yeah. Well,
Sure. Okay.
good.
Yep. I think I'm gonna have a dab.
All right.
Go to bed.
He's gonna have a drink. That's what a dab is, kids.
Takes 3 hours for that fucking ice cube tray to make ice.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Well,
been 2.
like always, subscribe, like it, give us some suggestions. We have not had any suggestions yet, but guess what? We're stubborn, so we're gonna stay here for a while. Not live, but we're gonna be here for your suggestions.
Gonna be really
Send them.
Gonna really be bummed out if this audio didn't pick up this time.
Him that's right.
No, what's this?
But I've had it half on your side.
You're out your gas. You're out today.
Hey, you got